And we're back! Welcome back to the For Against podcast here on Nick Hall Comedy. I'm Nick Hall, joined as always by
Josh Griffey.
If you are listening on Apple Podcasts, leave us a rating and review. If you're on YouTube, jam those like buttons. And feel free to leave us a comment on YouTube or, tweet at us or Instagram or Facebook. Whatever you want. If you've got a For Against category that you want us to do, we'll probably do it at some point. And, hey, I can't guarantee you shipping anymore because I don't know. But if you want some holiday shit, or just some stuff in general, CoachCampMurphy.com/shop. And, yeah.
There's never a day where anyone in your life will be like, oh, it's after Christmas. They'll be equally as excited to get their Coach Camp.
I tell you, I wear my Never Bun hat all the time, and I get comments all the time like, man, that's a great hat.
I've got some good Dinger shirts I wear.
And they go, where'd you get it? And I go, I made it.
It's mine.
I made it.
I made it.
It was mine.
Yeah.
I conceived it. Yeah. Big week.
Big old week.
Got the holidays coming. Dude, how crazy was that? The fucking kid from Florida, Keontae Johnson, was his name? That collapsed on the court? Did you see that?
I saw that. I read today he's fine.
Yeah.
I think they stabilized it. What the fuck was that?
Well, they put him in like a medically induced coma and all this shit. Like, that's scary, man.
Yeah, it's scary. My family, of course, just coming off of the COVID relief.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was horrifying.
I had it myself.
My father-in-law was in the ER for 4 days.
Yeah.
It's fucking scary times, man.
Well,
scarier yet. I'll tell you the scariest thing that happened to me in quarantine. I saw drive-by caroling.
Oh, God.
Like an actual official drive-by caroling. And it was the saddest thing I've ever seen, right? So, me and the kids are playing a game, right? We turn the lights off. You run around with the flashlight like, monster, you run away.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, I heard this horrible sound, and I was like, is this the fucking thing? Have we actually tempted the dark ones?
This is awful.
And monsters are coming. And I heard this horrendous sound. I was like, what the fuck is that? I run to the back porch. I open the door. The shittiest truck I've ever seen. With a tail, like a giant wagon, right? Like one of those giant, like you would put like furniture on it. With maybe like 15 kids from like teenager to young. And they are singing to the car radio, which is playing the trashy, like white trashiest country version of some holiday song I don't know. So you see this parade, and I was like,
buddy, it's cold outside.
Yeah, but they're like driving through the neighborhood, so everyone has to hear. They're not stopping and knocking on your door, which I guess is a courtesy. Everyone has to watch. And then the scariest part, like The Walking Dead, just this mob of overweight chodes following behind and filming their kids, accosting all of us in the neighborhood. I was like, well, Christmas is dead. Christmas is dead. It's 2020. Everything sucks. But I couldn't believe it. We just made fun of Christmas caroling. A drive-by Christmas carol for everyone in our neighborhood. Horrifying.
That sounds awful.
It was bad.
That sounds just awful.
Yeah. It was funny watching the, moms who were wheezing trying to keep pace with the car.
I would have hung out the front door and booed.
Yeah.
Boo!
Well, me and my kids did is we opened the door and I started just shining flashlights in all their faces. And they were like, looking around. I was like, fuck you.
Fuck out of here.
We had a silent protest.
Drive-by caroling. My God.
My God. I'm not shocked anymore. Like, everything about this year has been unusual and rough. So I was like, this is what we're doing now. Now we're going to you guys want to do a group activity. Also, it's like, imagine the person that's like, you know what I want to put on Facebook? That I put my kid on the back of this truck to poorly sing Toby Keith Christmas. While everyone in the neighborhood's just looking at them and scowling through their windows like, hey man, I'm trying to watch Netflix.
Hard pass.
It was brutal.
Hard pass.
Brutality.
No. I want to get a gun and just not shoot them, I just want to shoot the tires out.
Shoot the tires out.
Yeah.
Well, some of them might go down Final Destination style. I was saying though, we could we could just start doing that, have Amy drive around and we could just pod from the back of the bed.
I like that.
Just do the For Against, just drive around.
Just do live pods.
Everyone has
on a flatbed.
It could work.
It could. I'm into it. All right. Speaking of For Against, let's get into it. I'm doing a couple of user ones today.
I got a user one. I'm ready.
Let me just pull them up here so I don't get the name. The name's wrong. Close. All right. Here's the first one. This is from Jake Day on YouTube. Jake.
My old nemesis, Jake Day.
For or against
Okay.
the stupid fucking Buckeyes getting into the Big Ten championship only because the rules were changed at the last minute. Discuss. That's what he said.
Okay, so for those of us like me who have watched no college football this year, explain what has changed that set the Buckeyes up on this path.
Okay, so, well, here's what...
Because you're a Buckeye hater as a Michigan man.
I am. So here's how the Big Ten season has went.
Right.
They pretended they cared about the health and safety of the kids.
Yeah, for like a week.
And they canceled the season, and then they saw people making money, and they're like, oh, shit, well, fuck the safety. Like, we are going to play. Look at all that money coming in. They're like, but we're going to play, but if you cancel enough games and you don't qualify for the championship, you got to keep your team healthy and you got to play, right? Well, then it came down to the nitty-gritty, and the Golden Boys, the Buckeyes, didn't have enough games to qualify, so they had an emergency meeting of Parliament. They're like, oh, Jesus Christ, you know what I mean? Northwestern versus Indiana, Christ!
Yeah.
And then they're like, well, let's change that a little bit so the Buckeyes can get in. Because they were one game short, technically.
Sure.
And so that's where we are now, and then the Buckeyes got in. Because Suburban Meyer extended the long arm of his fucking cockboy face.
I am for it. I'm for the Buckeyes getting in because I like anything that just shows me the audacity of these college programs, the Big Ten, all these people, the NCAA. Like, this is a money-making, exploitative criminal racket.
100%.
Right? It's all it is.
The NCAA was one of the most illegally, run
Yeah.
institutions in the fucking world.
It's all horseshit. And you have all your formerly rich white kids that played quarterback who come out and defend it, and the sanctity, and wearing the sweaters, and it matters. It doesn't.
Yeah.
The Tim Tebow's of the world, right?
I got free food in the food court for 2 years.
Oh, I mean, it's cool, because I got to go back home to my parents' $1 million mansion on breaks.
I don't have any health care, but,
I would have been fine no matter what. It's cool. I hate the, rah-rah pomp and circus. I guess I never got caught into it. So it doesn't. So I'm just watching from an outsider perspective. It's ridiculous. So the fact that they looked right, because my boys IU's actually been pretty good this year. They gave the Buckeyes a run. They were clearly the better team. Fine. So it's like if IU would have won, would that have meant a lot in this year? No. I don't agree with LeBron that this is the hardest year to win championships.
I don't either.
I just don't agree with that.
So the 5-seeded Heat.
Yeah, the 5-seeded Heat and old man Jimmy Butler from the YMCA.
Fuck him.
Yeah, and Tyler Hero, whose biggest accomplishment was just smashing Insta-ass in the bubble. Good for him. But yeah, man, I mean, it's all a criminal scam anyway. So the fact that they made this move should come as a shock to no one.
To no one.
No one.
And a surprise twist. I'm also for it.
Real? Oh my God! I did not see that.
I'm a Michigan fan. I hate the Buckeyes because everybody knows all a Buckeye really is just a hairless nut.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I do.
That's my dad joke about Ohio State. And, fuck them. I fucking hate all of them. Fucking douchebag.
But why are you for it then?
Here's why I'm for
it.
Okay. So what it came down to was, my Michigan boys tried to pull the old fast one on him and be like, we'll thwart Ohio State's plans by bitching out of this game.
Is that what happened?
I mean, they're not going to say that.
But was Michigan the game that got canceled?
Yeah, Harbaugh's tired of getting his fucking
That's awesome.
butt fucked by Ohio State every year, hard.
I would give him an extension for that move.
Well, they did give him an extension.
That's the first win you've had against those guys.
Jim, you know the storied franchise that you've ran straight to the middle?
Yeah.
Stay with us a little longer. I don't think the fans know exactly how bad you are at coaching football yet. Let's give it 4 more years.
Sure.
So that move left Ohio State technically 1 game short. According to the original rules set out, there was also some gray area in the rules about it could also be a percentage of games played and blah, blah, blah. However, the reason that I'm for it is that even if Ohio State and Michigan went and played that game, and Ohio State lost by 100, they still would be in the Big Ten championship.
Yeah.
Because them and IU would both have 1 loss, And it turns out Ohio State's one win was against, or Indiana's one loss was against Ohio State.
Yeah.
So that game didn't matter anyway.
Yeah.
Now, if they were too short, fuck them, then I'd be against it. But ultimately, it was going to come down to that. Like, Ohio State could have played one game against, like, Murray State, and the Big Ten would be like, well, we got to have them in. They were undefeated. They're undefeated.
Right? Yeah. No, I mean, that happened in basketball, right? What was it? God damn it, I can't remember Bruce Pearl's the coach, though, right? And so they had a game.
Tennessee, I think?
God,
he was
Kent State or whatever is the program, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's moved on, but I think Kent State, they like had all these people drop out. They needed a game. They picked up a Division III team that had already gone 0-2 or 3, and they got fucking spanked.
Yeah.
And Bruce Pearl's comment was, this is the darkest day for our program. And so I like this for many reasons, right? Ohio State could have had their Bruce Pearl game.
They could have.
And they could have gotten smoked by, like, Ball State. That would have been, like, the best thing ever.
So dope.
I love Michigan's, this is our chance to fucking Shakespearean knife Ohio State.
It's the only way we can beat them. It's pathetic.
It's brilliant.
It's
and
sad.
a guy like Harbaugh who does this, like, I'm an alpha male, tough guy, whatever.
Yeah, he pulled his Walmart khakis way up and fucking made a power move.
And that's what I mean. That's knowing where you are in the relationship and taking that's like Game of Thrones, right?
Yeah.
I know you're a king and have dragons. I'm way down here, but I've been in the shadows for 4
He tried
seasons.
to cuck the cucker.
Yeah, he cucked the cucker. I'll Inception cuck this guy. And it's amazing, right? So I love that. Yeah, I mean, plus I think it's funny that Big Ten made that stupid rule at the start, knowing that they were going to break it no matter what.
Yeah.
So it's another sign of ineptitude.
Yeah.
It all works for me.
Well, the thing is, like, if it were any other team, like, if you know, like, it was fucking Rutgers that was, right, you know, undefeated but right on the cusp of enough games played, the Big Ten were like, fuck you.
Yeah.
Ohio State's in with their 3 losses.
Yeah. Sorry, the rules that we wrote in kids' crayon are here to stay.
All of a sudden, those motherfuckers would have been written in stone.
Yeah,
You know
right.
what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm against the Big Ten. I'm against pretty much any organization that deals with college sports. Because all they do is they pretend to care about the fucking athletes.
Yeah.
They don't. They care about the money that they don't share with the athletes that they don't care about.
Yeah.
And they can suck a fucking dick for all I'm concerned.
100%.
Fuck them.
Well, you see it with this, like, Giannis and Harden stuff in the NBA, right? It's not fair. The NBA guys get mad and they just go wherever they want. Okay, I agree. That's not great when the superstars move constantly.
Yeah.
The far extreme of what the NBA is, though, is the NCAA, where you're just criminally oppressing these people within your programs.
Yeah.
And I'm way less for that than a guy having the freedom to do whatever he needs to do with his abilities and his talent. So,
for sure.
You know, I also agree. Fuck the NCAA. I don't care. This will be the fun one, though, is when Ohio State wins it all this year. LeBron's it, because that must be in the Ohio water. This was the hardest, most difficult championship ever.
Yeah.
It should count for 5. And then watching people lose their fucking mind. Jim Harbaugh's just in one of those, like, Hitler bunkers somewhere, like, dying! Right? Just losing his mind. That'll be great. So I'm forward on that. All right. For or against. We have this one from one of our oldest friends on this here podcast.
Oh, baby.
Dustin Schnall, the Plow.
Schnall, the Plow.
One of
What's
our
up, dude?
oldest friends. Yeah, I always love when we hear from the Plow. So he said he had a for or against for us. After seeing Pat McAfee wrestle a few matches in NXT and Shaq making an appearance on AEW, these are pro wrestling groups if you don't know, for or against pro athletes making the jump to pro wrestling, or vice versa, like CM Punk pretending to be a UFC fighter, or Brock Lesnar trying to make it in the NFL. For or against coming to or leaving wrestling for pro athletes?
Well, it's a strange for or against Schnall, but I'm going to give it to you, pal.
You're for it?
It's good to hear you. Hear from you. I didn't hear him, man. He tweeted it.
That was very Pocahontas the way
Very
you said
Pocahontas.
that.
I have heard a wolf cry to the Blue Corn Moon, or whatever, however the fuck that goes.
Sure.
Have you ever seen a wolf cry?
Yeah.
That's the fucking song, I think. I don't know. I was a kid.
Have you ever painted with the colors of the wind?
Yeah.
Well, no.
Yeah.
No, we kind of just come here and take shit, Pocahontas. We don't do the story.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I'm a little. I'm against it. I'm against it.
Really?
I'm torn because you know what? These real wrestlers, I'm against the guys going into pro wrestling. I'm not necessarily against the guys trying to come out of it. Because you either make it or you don't. Like,
Sure.
you can't just go and be a sideshow in the NFL.
Yeah.
Which is what I feel like a lot of these guys that go into the fucking they're just sideshows. They're not really good wrestlers.
Sure.
They're not, you know what I mean? That's just a gimmick, and it's like, And you're taking the spot of a guy that actually probably can wrestle and, like, worked his ass off his entire life to try to get in. Like, you're Tim Tebowing a wrestler is what you're doing.
Yeah.
You know, you're like, oh, I've always wanted to play baseball. I know I suck at it. But I'll sell some tickets for the Double-A Mets.
I mean, I agree. And this is the thing.
Yeah.
McAfee's really been good at it. My kids are really getting into
there's
wrestling.
always exceptions to rules, and I'm not knocking on McAfee. I love McAfee.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, by and large, like, most of this shit ends up being
Sure.
a gimmicky sideshow.
And McAfee's the exception because he's actually good.
Like,
right?
I've seen a couple Ronda Rousey ones, and she's awful.
See, I thought she was good at the wrestling.
She's awful.
She's not good on the
mic. She
mic.
can't act. Like, she has no fucking charisma.
But her in-ring performance is good.
Yeah, she's athletic, but she, like, the beauty of her is, like, the charisma and, like, the fucking showmanship and the theatrical.
Sure.
And she's awful at it.
Well, this is the thing, right? So it's like, what was
she's
the best?
She's like, I am mad, and I'll get you.
Grr!
And you're like, oh, that's an awful character.
I'll steal Roddy Piper's fucking routine and just run it into the ground.
Yeah.
Horrifying. But that's what I mean, right? You talk like what was the best era of wrestling for us, right? It was like the Attitude Era, or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
So it's Stone Cold and The Rock, and it's like, what do you remember about that? All right, I remember Mark Henry fucked a 90-year-old lady, and she gave birth to a black mannequin's hand.
Yeah.
That's nothing to do with in-ring skill, right? I remember Stone Cold hitting his boss with a bedpan. I remember beer trucks and milk trucks.
Yeah, Macho Man doing coke off Miss Elizabeth's ass.
Yeah, Macho Man being attacked by the snake. That's the stuff that you, like, think about, right? The Rock's promo. You don't remember the in-ring stuff as much. So, a guy like McAfee who's just lightning in a bottle. Like, the moment he came in and they did the work on his show, right?
Yeah.
Adam Cole came on, it was the work. You're like, oh, there's something here. Like, I want to see. And he's just, when he's on there, it works, and it's lightning, and that's what you want.
Yeah, he's been good by all accounts.
Yeah. Whereas, like, when Floyd Mayweather came to WWE, and he did the, him and the Big Show.
Yeah.
Right? And he punched the Big Show and bloodied his, you're like, no. Because I'm like, I don't care how good of a boxer Floyd Mayweather is. It's impossible for me to believe that the Big Show wouldn't just suffocate him with a tip. Like, it's like, this is so dumb and unwatchable. Like, Mike Tyson did it and was not good.
Yeah.
Right? So
Gronk was awful.
Yeah, and Shaq's, like, old as fuck now. Like, I don't want to see Shaq, like, I don't want my last thing I hear of Shaq's like, oh, he can't be on TNT anymore because he fucking ruptured a C7, you know, getting spine busted or whatever. So I don't know. I think I'm for it, though, man, because I think pro wrestling is more like the other sports, right? Because you say, like, Lesnar can't come in and be like, I'm the biggest draw ever.
Right.
Put me in the U.S.
Start me at line, but he can't do that, and then he can't be like, hey, I'm really big in wrestling, start me at linebacker.
Yeah.
They'll be like, no.
You just get cut.
You know what I mean?
Didn't make the practice squad for the fight. They're like,
it's a different beast going from that way to from one way to the other. Yeah.
But the thing is, I think they're more similar than you think, because when you come into wrestling, you just have that thing or you don't.
I agree.
You can work your ass off to be a great in-ring worker or whatever. And I do feel bad for the guy, because I was watching a documentary on that. They have this new guy, Keith Lee, that my kids love. And he's fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
And he was talking about he had the same thing. He's like, he had a scholarship to play football. He's like, no, I want to do this. Homeless, living in his car. He's like, maybe you get $20 for a show, which is less than food and gas.
Yeah.
So, like, I appreciate the struggle of those guys, right?
Right.
The sad fact of the matter remains, though, you did that route.
Right.
And a lot of those guys aren't going to make it, or they're close.
Correct.
If a guy like McAfee can come in, and he's bringing the eyes, and he has the fucking lightning and thunder, that's the same as an athletic, like, you can't run as fast as this other receiver.
Yeah.
You can't do what he does.
Yeah, well, and I'll tell you the other thing I'm against, along the same lines, is that, yes, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is a good actor, and he's had a very successful career, but stop trying to do it with that. Like, John Cena is fucking awful. Like, he's an awful actor. Like, stop trying to make him the star of movies. Same with the dude that was in, like, Guardians of the Galaxy.
Batista?
He's awful.
I think Batista's the best.
He's an awful actor.
I think he's the best acting wrestler we've seen.
Oh,
Not because of Guardians.
1 million. He was in some other movie I saw
Blade
recently.
Runner. He had a nice little run
and
in
he's
Blade
awful. Like he's like the Zoe Deschanel of male actors. Like he has no emotion. He's just reading lines. It's fun, dude. It's fucking
His version of Deschanel singing.
And I like Batista. He's fun as hell in the ring, but man, he's fucking awful.
Yeah.
And just quit. Just stop.
I like Batista.
Like that's why I'm mad at The Rock. I love The Rock, but I'm mad at him because he just inspired all this fucking false hope. They're like, oh, we can just turn these guys into actors.
But again, if they've got it,
but they don't. They don't.
You think Batista's bringing nothing to the table? They just keep putting him in kids' movies?
You could literally put anybody else in that movie and it would have been just as good, if not better.
In My Spy?
Yeah.
You think anyone could have done what Batista did in that?
1,000%. He's a dog shit actor. He's fucking awful.
Well, like, who's the best? I'll tell you the actual best pro wrestling actor is, and it's Hulk Hogan.
Terry Bollea?
Yeah. And he's probably the worst
Suburban
wrestler.
Commando?
Suburban Commando. Three Ninjas. Attack on Magic Mountain.
What was the other one?
No Holds Barred.
Yeah, that one's... But what was the other one where he was like the fucking nanny or whatever? You know what I'm talking about? Or was that Suburban Commando?
No, that's Suburban Commando?
Maybe that is what
it is. No, Mr. Nanny? Is that... No, that's not...
No, I can't remember.
There's like a couple of them that are pretty like similar. But he's really very good.
Well, yeah.
Because he's funny.
He's the Hulk, man.
Yeah, he's a funny goofball. But he's the worst in-ring wrestler. His finisher move was a leg drop.
Yeah.
That's it.
But he had the charisma, man.
But that's what I mean. He's got the thing. And so Hollywood, all this, if you've got it, sometimes you get to jump the line, man.
Yeah.
So, like, AEW is talking with Shaq. They're praying to God that when Shaq has an appearance that he'll bring 1 million eyes to their fucking program.
Yeah, I know. I get that the draw they're going after. Sure.
Yeah.
That's also, like, one of my favorite Always Sunny moments. They're watching Hulk Hogan wrestle, and the D's like, what the hell is this? And she's like, what is that? And he's like, that's Hulk Hogan's shtick. You know, the skin of a hot dog and the hair of a blonde Chinese man.
That's such a good description.
It's the most perfect description ever.
I liked Greg Giraldo at the Celebrity Roast. He goes, Hulk Hogan. He's like, your show shouldn't be called Hogan Knows Best. It should be called Hogan Grows Breast. He goes, no wonder your wife cheated on you. You dress like an aging Hooters waitress. Greg Giraldo is one of the all-time saints of the insult.
Dude, it's on, like, if you go on YouTube, somebody cut together. It's like an hour long of all of Greg Giraldo.
Yeah.
It's worth the hour. Rest in peace. He's dead now, but man,
the fucking
he was the
funniest
king
roaster.
of that shit.
Yeah.
Dude, yeah.
Hogan Knows Breast.
Hogan Grows Breast.
It's so good. It's so good. But that's what I mean. Hogan got a reality show because he had the heat, man. So I don't know. You see, because that's the thing. Like, even in UFC, right? Like, I was for CM Punk going to the UFC, right? I think Plow's insinuating he hadn't done what it takes, and I was like, your ways to get in the UFC are be really good and win fights so you have fans.
Right.
Or bring fans with you to the UFC. And a lot of people watch that just to watch CM Punk get his fucking ass beat.
Right.
I was in Vegas. I was in the arena when Lesnar beat Couture and won the belt.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that was an awesome... Like, that arena was electric.
Yeah.
And UFC was not what it was back then.
Right. Well, that's the thing, though, too. If you're going from wrestling to UFC or whatever, like, okay, you can somewhat teach somebody how to, like, basically wrestle. If they're just there to be a sideshow or whatever, you can write them a script and blah, blah, blah. It's not always going to be good, but you can't get into the fucking octagon and just be like, remember how cool I was? Like, no, you'll find out real quick whether they can fight or not.
Oh, yeah.
They'll get their faces busted in.
Well, Joe Rogan was like, I think it should be, like, you should be legally in trouble if you let him back in there. It's like, that was horrifying to watch.
That's true. That's a good point. He's made that point before.
I mean, he walked in there and he took his lick. So, like, if he wants to do that, and by the way, what he was getting paid is probably a fucking shekel compared to what he made as a wrestler. If he wants to do it, though, and he's got the juice.
Yeah, because he was at the top of the wrestling world.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you know, he was fucking...
He was the man for a long time. So let him go. Let him go. I'm fine with that. If you want to do it... Like, I remember... They talked about that in The Last Dance, but I remember when we were kids, it was a big deal that Malone and Rodman had that feud with the NWO and DDP, and you're like,
and they still didn't bring in the, like... Rodman should have just been like, remember when you fucked that kid
Yeah.
and denied her child?
Yeah.
Like, that should have been fucking...
That's how wild the 90s
fucking
were.
child molester.
They cast Karl Malone as the hero. Child rapist Karl Malone is the hero versus that guy with fashion your dad
By the
hates.
way, we've talked about it on the pod before, but I'm dedicating my life to exposing Karl Malone. He's a fucking child molester. Look it up.
Yeah.
Look it up. Fuck that guy.
Yeah. Well, I like when in The Last Dance they interview Karl Malone. He's like, I wasn't afraid of Michael Jordan. I'm like, well, yeah, because your fear is that everyone's going to know you're a child rapist.
Because you were just
your fear cortex is overloaded.
You were just banging kids in your fucking semi that you drove around. I get it.
And that's
like, I need the extended cab. I bet you do, so you can fit 3 10-year-olds.
Oh, well, her dad wanted it to happen. She's 13.
Yeah, bro.
She was 13. Yeah, Karl Malone, giant rapist.
Chomo.
Yeah.
Chomo. Okay, I'm against it.
You're against it?
Yeah.
I'm for it, man. If you've got the juice to force your way in anywhere, I don't want to hear the sad story of, but I trained 5 hours a day for 15 years. Well, you need to move on to something that you got the juice at, man. Let them play. Let the boys play. That's what I said.
Yeah. Yeah. I have another one here, but I do. This is not a for or against. So we're gonna do it.
Are we just gonna swing over for or against Karl?
But I gotta shout out Brody Duff on YouTube.
Okay.
Because he was talking about our fucking. We had the time travel debate.
Oh yeah.
And he was like, I would go back and draw a cave painting of the future, which is a great idea. And that's one thing like I would totally do.
Mm-hmm.
Like Nick Swartzen did a great bit once where he was like, dude, if I could time travel, he goes, I would just take like the movie Transformers back to like 1910. And just like tell people it was a documentary. Like, don't go to the future. This is happening. And they're like, oh my god.
The Future by Michael Bay.
Like I said last week, I was like, I'd just be a fucking troll.
Yeah.
And so I had to shout Brody because that's a great troll job.
That's a brilliant idea.
Okay, so here's my for or against. This is also from YouTube. Fat Hound says for or against the old school being tougher than the new school. Like that whole thing, like, oh, back in my day we were tougher.
Against? I'm against.
Why?
The old school.
You think the old school was bigger pansies?
I think old guys in old school like to talk a lot of shit.
Yeah, I do too.
But I think I've seen the training videos of the new school, and I mean, I guess this is the Rocky IV debate, right?
Right.
The guy might be trained to science to be a lot bigger, better, tougher, whatever, but, you know, if you can do curls with a log, you can maybe win because of America.
Right.
Fun story from that set. Rocky once asked Dolph Lundgren, he's like, hey, you should actually hit me. And Dolph's like, no. He's like, come on, actually hit me during a take. And Stallone woke up in the hospital. He was hospitalized for days because Dolph Lundgren hit him so fucking hard. Yeah.
If he dies, he dies.
Yeah, so Rocky the movie is a fucking fairy tale nonsense movie. Dolph Lundgren would murder Stallone, right? The Woods training.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think like it's the Dick Butkus. Dick Butkus was tougher than modern athletes. He wasn't.
Yeah.
Dick Butkus is like your uncle, right? It was maybe like tougher than your uncle, but he's like an uncle. If Dick Butkus played in today's NFL, he would get cut Brock Lesnar style.
Yeah.
Like, imagine just having to choose between Dick Butkus and Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, he was like 5'8".
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he looks good in a flat top, and he sure chain smokes cigars. That's a quality we're looking for. No, I think it's just something they say because they know in their heart of hearts they're not. Like, did they play an inferior version of the game that maybe required them to get more concussions and, you know, be hurt more? I mean, sure. Is that tougher, dumber? I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I don't think the old school's tougher.
Right. Well, here's the thing. Here's what I think. I think it's like a psychological thing because a lot of people like. When I get into the LeBron and Jordan debate or whatever, I try to get away from like, well, Jordan's era was like a lot harder. Not necessarily.
Yeah.
But here's why you think that though. Mm. You're like, well, it was just a lot tougher all because now all you remember, because it's not present, it's a fucking 20-year-old memory in your head. So now, all you remember are just like those highlights.
Yeah.
You remember like that one fight. You don't remember all like the 82 game mundane fucking all the other points of the season that we still have. You know what I mean? Like, ask me about the 2005 season or whatever it was. The only thing I remember, or 2006, whatever year it was, the Malice at the Palace.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my god, those guys were badass. But there was also like 81
that
other
was your
games.
takeaway?
81, no, but there was like 81 other games that were boring as fuck.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That whole era wasn't tougher. Just like that was a cool moment. And they still have cool moments now.
Yeah. Well, I think
So I don't really buy into like, oh, it's tougher back in my day. You know?
I don't think you make that argument in any other sport reasonably, right?
Yeah.
Baseball, not even close.
No.
Football, not even close.
Yeah.
Soccer, not a sport. Basketball, maybe, because I mean, we grew up watching the Pacers versus the Knicks, and you're like, that looked like a scene from Roadhouse
Charles Oakley
more
tried
than
to
basketball.
kill some people. Yeah.
Yeah, him and Anthony Mason and Alonzo Mourning and that, like, it was a Roadhouse scene. Like, they
was.
weren't playing basketball, and the game was predicated on running down close to the basket where fucking monsters like that could take clubbing blows at you. So, like, do I think LeBron, who got carried off the floor for a calf injury by 4 teammates, perhaps has a little extra pussy gene that would make it harder for him in that era? Sure.
Yeah.
But I think if LeBron grew up in that era, he's pretty fucking big and strong. He probably would have been okay. So I think that's a bit of a...
Yeah.
It's a bit of a dumb argument.
Well, that's the thing, too, is like, yeah, maybe they did fight a lot more way back in the day. Yeah, because they're all 5'8", and it was like an even match. Now they're just fucking giants.
Giants.
And they're like, I don't want to fucking, JJ Redick is not going to fucking take a swing at Anthony Davis.
No.
It's just not going to happen.
Well, basketball players, as we saw, I mean, I'm not saying that you use the one to statistically prove the theory, because that's bad math.
Right.
But I think we watched Nate Robinson get jacked up by a YouTuber, and we can make some assumptions.
Yeah.
Like, I think that anyone in the NFL would beat up Jake Paul, probably. Maybe not like Andy Dalton, or Matt Ryan.
The Red Rocket might do it.
Yeah. I mean, for a long time, I was convinced I could beat up Aaron Rodgers. Like, I knew in my heart of heart I could take him down because he had that soft State Farm money.
Yeah.
I was like, I was from the streets. Like, I could take him down. Probably would have lost.
Yeah.
I never thought that about, like, anyone else in the NFL, right? But yeah, I don't... Tougher? Like, let's say, I don't know if Mike Tyson counts, but, like, Mike Tyson versus the best fighter of all time before the 1900s.
He'd whip their ass.
Like, I think, he would be, like, going to jail for murders. Yeah. Like, straight up
Fighting's different, though, because those guys are just fucking tough anyway. It doesn't matter what era.
Yeah, that's true.
Those motherfuckers are tough.
That's a good point.
Like,
But, like, UFC is a great example, right? You go back and watch UFC 1. It was legitimately kind of this... They used to have contests called Tough Man.
Yeah, like Hoist Gracie and shit.
Yeah, where it was just like big dummies like walking into the ring and just throwing bombs with no gloves. And like, you watch UFC 1 and you're like, this feels like it should have been illegal.
It was.
I mean, that's true. Good point. It was.
Like bum fights, dude.
Yeah, you're just watching these dudes like just try to murder each other. And you're like, are those guys tougher than athletes today that, train, stretch, eat a vegetable, like, wrap their hands with gloves?
Yeah.
Maybe, but I think this is more a question of stupidity.
Yeah, I agree.
Toughness.
I agree.
If you're asking me my honest opinion.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, and it's like, like I said, like, the boxers are different, but, well, speaking of fucking Nate Robinson getting knocked out, while we're on that, my buddy last night was like, he was like, who's going to be like the Muggsy Bogues of the new Space Jam? Because he was like he was like 5'3" or whatever. I was like, well, it's not going to be Nate Robinson, because he's still laying on the mat. And I was like, oh,
yeah!
Got one!
Dancing on the grave.
A Nate Robinson and a short guy joke, you know what I mean?
So, I got to
my punchlines hit twice.
That's true. Nate, he took his first KO against Jake Paul and his second against you. But did you see Jake Paul's call-out video of Conor McGregor?
Yeah, dude, it was great. He kept calling him an Irish bitch.
God bless him. Also, I didn't know this on Instagram. He only follows Conor McGregor's fiance.
Yeah.
He told Dana White he was a bald bitch who can't get pussy. I was like, if Conor McGregor got a sheet for $50 million to fight Jake Paul, and he keeps trying to win the UFC belt, which doesn't matter at all because Khabib left, then he is a fucking idiot.
Yeah, I agree.
He is an absolute idiot. Because he won't make $50 million if he fought another 100 UFC fights.
But he would kill fucking Logan Paul.
So what?
I know, but I'm saying, why would he do it? Go beat the fuck out of this loudmouth and get 50 mil? Duh.
Yeah. Well, that's why this is like the congealing of all this, right? New school, tougher, athletes crossing over. For me, if you're an athlete, what is your real... Conor McGregor's already a double weight class champion.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to prove that he's a good... And people who say he's not a good fighter are just fucking idiots.
I agree. He's a loudmouth and an asshole, but he's a good fighter.
Sure, but if someone says you can make way more money fighting a YouTube guy...
Yeah.
You do that.
Yeah.
You take that fucking money.
$50 million?
Yeah.
To go beat the shit out of some kid from Malibu?
Yeah.
All day.
Sure. Well, I hear this all the time, too. This is my actual, like, old school, new school, tougher argument. When I lived in California, you see it, so, California people are soft, blah, blah. I can't tell you the amount of times I saw bar fights in Los Angeles that just broke into, like, Brazilian jiu-jitsu matches. And it, like, really... Yeah, because, like, I stopped being a bouncer pretty early into L.A., and it was still a lot of pushing and, like, old school, like, let's punch each other, but, like, respectfully.
No terrible punches, yeah.
We're not going to kick each other in the nuts, like, we'll be men about it. But when you're, like, at a softball outing and you look over drunk and see a guy, like, pull guard... You're like, holy shit! Like, you think our uncles could have, like, survived someone pulling guard on them in the 70s?
They're all just crane kicking each other?
Yeah, like, dude, I think the average person today sees so much combat. They have YouTube where you can, like, learn techniques.
Yeah.
I think if you sent, like, the average teenager now back to the fit, I don't care if that guy, like, had to, like, work on a farm and fix his own, like, shitty car. I think the kid who can pull guard kills him.
I don't know, man.
I'm sorry. I
don't know.
I think so.
I don't know. I'll take dirty style boxing over fucking jiu-jitsu all day.
Those guys have those YouTube videos too.
Yeah.
They're learning fucking karate chops and elbow smashes, and I think they would fuck up. I think we do this all the time because we feel bad. Like, I'm a father now, right? And one of the inescapable truths of being a father is like, oh fuck, I'm going out and, like, the younger breed's coming to take me.
Yeah.
They're gonna come take my stuff and my women and, like, move me out, right?
Yeah.
Conan the Barbarian.
The times they are a changing.
Yeah, so I think as a gift to, like, the old men, so we don't have to kill them for being troublemakers, is we tell, well, you guys were actually tougher than us. They're not. They weren't. They're not.
No, they weren't.
Fuck off.
Nah.
No. The new school is tougher.
We're tougher
than the old school. Yo, me and you for sure.
I'm the toughest.
Oh,
we watched arm wrestling for a while.
Yeah, we got real into arm wrestling.
We got really into it. We weren't,
One of the lowest moments of self-esteem I've ever had in my life was that we got drunk enough to think it was cool to try to start an impromptu arm wrestling tournament.
Yeah.
In a bar.
Yeah, at the rec room.
And your brother, who's like half my size, just trucked me in front of everyone.
My brother's he's always been a good arm wrestler.
Dude,
he doesn't look, he's a little dude, but I've seen that guy wreck, like, and I hate to give my brother credit for being tough, because he's just like that brother thing. I'll beat my brother up. That guy can wreck people in arm. I don't know what it is.
I mean, it wasn't close.
He's got this technique, dude. It's fucking...
Well, he has, like, an iron arm. Like, his arm
fucking,
felt
what's
like
his name? The little guy that used to wreck people. They did Pulling John.
Pulling John.
John Brzezinski. He's like John Brzezinski.
For arm wrestling.
Yeah, by the way, Travis Bagent, we'll still have you on the show.
Travis Bagent, come on, dude.
Come on, we tried to get him on, like,
I think
6 years ago.
Ohio, or Pennsylvania. But yeah, it was, like, one of the lowest. I'm like, not only am I a douche who's arm wrestling in public, but I am just getting crushed by this way smaller guy who's just chain smoking and out drinking me too. I was like, good lord.
Yeah.
Yeah, he whooped my ass. I've always been notoriously, because people are like, you're kind of big when they meet me, and they assume I will be a good arm wrestler. I am horrible.
Yeah.
I would probably lose to anyone who is good at arm wrestling. Yeah. So maybe I'm not tougher in that, but everything else, I think I would win.
All right. What you got?
All right. Final four against, pulled from the headlines. I run another podcast, the Film Alchemist podcast. It's about movies. This week, Showgirls and Fifth Element, so go subscribe.
Ooh, Showgirls.
Showgirls is
titties!
Fucking baffling movie, dude. Do you remember the cool fucking scene?
Oh,
I was just like, who thinks that is
and
how sex happens?
When he's trying to, like, finger her, but she's on her period. And he's like, I got towels.
Yeah, well, I love that part. She's like, I'm on my period. He's like, no, you're not. And she goes, check. So his immediate response is, I'll just go put my fingers in there. He's like, I got towels.
I got towels.
It's... Anyway, that scene, that's a whole other ordeal, Showgirls. But, so this, last week it came out that Warner Brothers, the studio, right? They're going to start dropping all of their major movies, right? Wonder Woman, Godzilla, The Conjuring, all this shit, right? The same day it was supposed to be in movie theaters, it's going to be on HBO Max.
Hobo Max.
Yeah, and every fucking film nerd and hipster in the universe lost their minds. Mm-hmm. Nick, are you for or against same-day releases of movies in your home?
For.
Yes.
The world's changing, change with it, man.
Changed, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And also, like, I'll tell you this. I've always been against, like, I'm going to pre-order tickets to go opening day for this movie.
Yeah.
And sit with 2,000 other fucking mouth breathers. Half of them are talking through the fucking movie. It's just, that's not a fun experience for me.
No.
I love going to the theater, but I like going during the day when I can just sit there by myself and just fucking take in the movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
No.
that's my movie theater experience.
I used to
or
be
like
the
with
guy.
one or two good friends and like
Sure.
that's it. Yeah.
I used to be the guy where I was like first showing, middle seat, like all that, right?
Yeah.
Now I'm like, fuck you, I'm going Saturday at like 9 in the morning.
Yeah.
By myself. I don't bring my wife, my
100%.
kids. I just go by myself because I just want to sit quietly and watch
Yeah.
the movie. Like I went to a 1 a.m. showing of A Quiet Place. I had the whole theater to myself.
Yeah.
Great.
That'd be amazing.
Right? So like stuff like that's what I don't, we went to the Star Wars movies became a thing, right? So we were going to that. I remember going and they're like, let's meet up for beers beforehand. You're like, that sounds great. We went to this giant IMAX right at the museum. Well, next thing you know, the movie, you're like, fuck, this is like a 3-hour long movie after trailers.
Yeah.
I just slammed like 8 beers. And if I have to go to the bathroom, I have to look at fucking 50 angry fat people in costumes who are just like, this is my first Star Wars experience. And it's like, God damn it. So I'm just sitting there like trying not to piss myself
Yeah.
the whole movie. Or you go to Avengers and it's just these fucking morons who like, Captain America's friends aren't dead and they're going to come help him fight.
Yeah.
Woo! It's like, did you really think Captain America wasn't going to win?
Yeah.
Like, what?
What were you expecting? Yeah.
Yeah, like, guys, we're not 10. I know we're like the childish generation, but like to me, this is the thing. I love going to the movie theater.
I do too.
But I think the movie theater experience has gotten so unbearably bad.
Yeah. I agree.
That I don't give a fuck about. If movie theaters go under and people are like, it's the worst thing for the arts.
Right.
It's not.
Well, like, I don't know who's running the movie theaters.
Yeah.
But they're like, oh, it's dying and like, blah, blah, blah. We're not getting any help. Like, they're the worst owners because they're doing nothing to adapt.
None.
You know what I mean? They're just like, they're keeping this fucking age-old business structure that's clearly, like, going to the wayside.
Yeah.
As soon as digital media made a thing, like, it's been dying for years. And they're just like the stubborn old man, like, no. They'll come back.
Yeah.
You know?
It's crazy. Well,
you
they
know
had
what
this
we'll do?
mafia
We'll get
set
a
up.
few more candy options.
Candy!
That'll get them in here.
Yeah, I knew movie theaters were in trouble, and they're like, what if we just introduce beers? You can have one Coors Light at the theater. It's like, oh, great,
Well,
that's
like,
going to help.
It's like this dude that I used to work for, this bar, it was the owner, but like, anytime like business started going down, his only fucking idea was to raise prices. I swear to God, like, he'd be like, well, you know, for the last few months we've been, like, business has been down a little bit. This is like way pre-COVID, like there was just no excuse. And instead of figuring out a way to get more butts in seats, he's like, we'll just raise every price by a quarter and that'll fucking suck.
Yeah.
And then all that does is just drive more people out.
Yeah.
So they're like, fuck this, fuck these prices. And
Yeah.
I was like, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
Like, you're a fucking idiot.
There's
Like,
not a huge
look
shortage
around,
of bars.
like, why are people not coming in? And it's not because their beers are too cheap. That's not why they're not coming in, you fucking moron. Like, let's do some advertising. Let's fucking, you know.
I like the idea of people coming into a bar like, my dad always said, you get what you're paying for. This cheap beer is no good. Like, no alcoholic.
Yeah. But I
the
feel like
movies
that's
are
what the movie
that.
theaters are doing, yeah.
So here it is. If I want to take me and my wife and my 2 kids to see a movie, and everyone get popcorn and a drink and candy or whatever.
Right.
That's like $75 to $90.
Right.
Easy. Right? And it's...
Easily.
And that's... They haven't... I don't care how good your screen is, right? You're like the best movie theater screen, I can have that TV in my living room.
Yeah, pretty
I have
much.
amazing sound quality in my living room.
Yep.
I have food here. What I miss is when I lived in LA, right? They had these theaters that would do like event showings, right?
Yeah.
So something like when you go see Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Yeah.
It's a thing, right? Or you would go to an art house theater and it's people who are really into cinema, right? Watching like a European whatever. That's cool because we're all there to really do that.
Yeah.
There is no cinematic value added to me when I'm watching Minions.
I agree.
In a movie theater with screaming kids.
But that's the thing, like if AMC were smart,
yeah,
if they had any foresight, when the streaming shit popped off, they should have started making deals with studios to be the exclusive streamer of new movies.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you can go watch it in a theater, or you can watch it on AMC.com or whatever their fucking app is, and you can pay for that experience in your home.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But they didn't. They just
agree.
sat there with their fucking hands up, or their asses on their hands, and they're like, oh, I don't know what's happening.
Right. Well, because they had this deal that said we were the only ones who could show a movie for like a while. Right. And now with torrenting and streaming, everyone's like, I don't care if I have to wait 3 months.
Right.
You know, because it is a twofold problem, right? Is one, we're getting more movies than ever.
Right.
I would argue that a higher percentage of the movies I see nowadays absolutely fucking suck.
Right.
Right? Because there's not as many barriers to get over. So you're not getting, like, more movies that it was harder to make. You're just getting, like Netflix puts, like, 15 unwatchable movies on there every week.
Yeah.
So it's this hard thing, and you got to ask these people to take time off of their phones and all this, which I hate that people have their phones out during movies, but it is the reality. So to me, if you put The Conjuring, right? Because horror movies are unbearable because of teenagers, right? Not sound like such an old schooler. But like, if you say, hey, yeah, you can sit at home in your parents' basement and finger your girlfriend there and get scared for The Conjuring, instead of trying to do that next to me in the movie theater.
Yeah, it's hard to do the popcorn trick at home, though, because the bags are hot, man. Fresh out of the microwave.
One little buttery kernel falls into your nethers. It's all over. Yeah. But this, I mean, to me, taking the people out of the theater that don't want to be in the theater, that's a huge fucking benefit for people that can be responsible in movie theaters.
And that's the thing, is like, when people started stealing movies and shit, like, they all were like, well, we got to make it harder to get movies online.
Yeah.
Instead of realizing that that's where people were consuming their movies, and they just need to make it easier for them and fucking charge them for it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they'd be fine.
Well, it's the same thing to me as weed, right?
Yeah, the music industry finally figured it out.
Yeah. Yeah. And then some state like Colorado's like, we could sell the weed.
Yeah.
Right? And we could make money off the taxes on the weed. Sure. And
I'll be damned.
Yeah. It's hard because now they're talking about contracts, right? Like if you lose all that box office.
Yeah.
Like and this is the thing, people are still going to go to the movies.
Yeah, the people that want to go will still go.
Like, yeah, people who are diehard Marvel nerds are still going to go see a Marvel movie.
Yeah.
They might not see it like 5 times. So yeah, the economics are going to shift, but that happens with every business. Yeah. That would have been like when, fucking books went to ebooks or audiobooks. Mm-hmm. Everyone's just, burn the libraries down, useless.
Yep.
Like, that's not how it worked. So to me, like, you have these fucking old cocksuckers, right? Like Scorsese, who's like, every movie should
I love Scorsese.
I love him too, but it's film hipsters, right? Him, Nolan, Tarantino, all great filmmakers, but they're fucking delusional.
Yeah.
Right? Quentin Tarantino and I think David Lynch both were like, I've never seen a movie on a cell phone. And I'm like, that's a lie.
Yeah.
That's a lie. You choose not to because you want to have an old projector buzzing in your ear. That's fine.
Everything should be seen on 1930s technology.
It's fucking stupid.
You know what I mean?
But this is why I was asking someone. So what are like your top 3 favorite movies off the top of your head?
Big Lebowski. Probably The Departed, and then I'd probably go Casino.
Sure. So let's say like Jurassic Park, Jaws, Alien, right?
Yeah.
All right, so let's say those are like just 3 off the top of your head, right?
Mm-hmm.
Every single one of those movies, except for Jurassic Park. So 2 of the 3 I saw for the first time on either TV with commercials,
right,
or on a VHS.
Right.
And they're my favorite movies ever.
Yeah.
It doesn't fucking matter where you see the movie to me. Now, if there's something where they're like, hey, do you want to come to the theater this Christmas and watch Gremlins 1 or 2?
Sure.
And like a double feature for people who love Gremlins. Sure, that's an experience. We're all there to do it together. Yeah. That's great. Do I want to go see the fucking horrible remake of The Grudge with 4 teenagers taking fucking selfies in front of me?
Trying to bootleg it? No.
Yeah. I mean, I wish they were fingering. It really is mostly just Instagram.
Yeah, it is.
But that's what I think.
It's all for the gram.
It's all for the gram.
Bitches love the gram.
It's bitches love the gram. But that's what you gotta figure this out. And this is the thing.
I agree.
You can't put it back in the bottle.
No.
We like to watch movies here at our homes.
Yeah.
Find a way to make your money.
I agree.
Stop bitching.
Stop being idiots. So
I'm excited.
I think the last time I went to an opening day, the last one I remember was Dark Knight.
Oh, okay.
And it was a bunch of our fucking mutual friends that you know. I won't name you. But they were like, yeah, let's go. And I was like, I don't really want to, but I'll go. And it was like, that movie was fucking huge, man.
Big.
And we got it as an IMAX, and we got in there, and the only seats were in the very front row. And so I was just like fucking sitting here like this for 2 hours while people fucking applauded and shit. And I was just like, I fucking hate this.
Yeah.
And then when the movie came out, I watched it, I rented it and watched it, and I had a much better time.
Yeah.
Because I got to see the whole movie. I got to see it without fucking breaking my goddamn neck.
Yeah.
Being uncomfortable with a bunch of fucking chota boys.
Yeah, comic book movies unbearable. I would argue, because someone was like horror movies and comedies, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, I can be scared anywhere. I don't need to hear a girl screaming behind me to know. Same with I don't need to ever see a Judd Apatow movie on the big screen versus paying for it in my home.
Right.
Right? Well, it's good if everyone's laughing together. It's like, hey man, I don't need the Seinfeld laugh track.
Yeah.
To tell me if your movie's funny. My body does a thing when it hears and sees funny shit, and I laugh.
I agree.
Right? I don't need your fucking laugh tracks, right? So I mean, I don't know. I will always be a guy who goes to see the movies, but to me, if the audiences go down a little bit, but people are having a better time on average, that's a big win for me. Now, how does the money shake out? I'm not that fucking smart,
plus,
but it has to.
I don't like crowds, and the reason that the reason I don't like crowds is because I always assume I'm the funniest guy there in the crowd, and so now I gotta,
of course.
So now I gotta perform. Now I gotta fucking entertain.
Right.
And it's exhausting.
It's hard.
You know what I'm talking about.
I know. I also
you and I get into a packed bar, and we're like, well, I guess we gotta put on a show.
All right, I didn't know I was clocking in. No. I'll tell you, one of the most exhausted I've ever been was after our open mic set during The Room. When me, you, and Chucky went to see The Room at Keystone Art. It was, we got to meet, what's his name?
What is that dude's Wiseau, name? Tommy Wiseau.
Tommy Wiseau. We got to meet Tommy Wiseau. Yeah. We were trying to buy him drinks.
Just as douchey as you imagine.
The worst. The worst human. I can't fathom there's a guy who lives like that, but he's there.
He is.
And we were like, well, there is this movie, but don't worry, we got it. It was 2 hours of just sweat and exhaustion entertaining those people.
All right, we gotta go. Hey, leave us some comments if you want your for or against right on here. Go to CoachKentMurphy.com/shop. And we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.